actual paper money if they can't get cashier's checks. And that has huge implications for security because that means that they have bags of money just sitting around their businesses too.
$30,000, $40,000 worth of cash is not a huge amount. It's not unheard of.
That's Nick Morrow. He's a former narcotics officer with the LA County Sheriff's Department, and now he consults with marijuana businesses. He told me that all of that cash can make dispensaries vulnerable, that people skimming off the top and robberies, they're not that rare. And he told me that most of the crimes committed against dispensaries are usually associated with people that work there, people that know the schedules of how things are deposited.
A boyfriend of one of the dispensary employees came in and stuck a gun in the manager's face, tried to get money, tried to get medicine, ended up shooting the manager, injuring him. And then, in the panic and in the circus that followed, he never got away with any money or any medicine. And he ended up going to prison behind shooting the manager.
Yeah, so I've heard of several stories like that, and harrowing tales of robberies and very scary situations. So since the businesses have all that cash, they have to find creative ways to get rid of it since they can't put it in banks. So sometimes people will put their dispensary's cash into several different personal accounts and they'll actually go bill by bill at an ATM in the middle of the night. It's really anything just to lessen the risk of having a bunch of money on hand. And on top of that, if a lot of these places, when they do get robbed, I've spoken to dispensary owners about this, and often they won't report the crimes because they're worried about getting involved with local law enforcement. So there's still super shady aspects to what is now a legal business in California.
I mean, we've done some reporting recently on this show in Oregon, which has legal recreational marijuana. And, the mayor of Corvallis was saying to me he was hoping things get straightened out on a legal front so that there is less stealing in cash. Are things like that happening in California, efforts to kind of streamline this process?
Yes, it's an issue in California, too. And State Treasurer John Chung actually convened something called the Cannabis Working Group with the hope that they could sort out this problem going forward. He wrote a letter to Donald Trump asking for help. But the Trump administration's views, with Jeff Sessions at the Justice Department, they're very anti-marijuana. So I wouldn't expect anything to happen anytime soon. Congress could theoretically change the classification of marijuana from a Schedule 1 to, say, a Schedule 2 drug. That might help, but there's no indication that that's going to happen. Other states like Washington, like you mentioned Oregon, they're also working on this too, but it's still a humongous issue, and it'll still be an issue until the federal government changes its mind.
Jacob Margolis reports on marijuana for KPCC in Los Angeles. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Marketplace Weekend is supported by Progressive Insurance, committed to offering a streamlined shopping experience where home and auto can be bundled together. Now that's Progressive. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. And by LegalZoom.com, helping small business owners get started with incorporation, LLCs, DBAs, and nonprofits while providing ongoing legal advice through its network of independent attorneys. More information available at LegalZoom.com/marketplace. And by Avalara, tax automation for businesses of all sizes. Avalara's cloud-based technology is designed to simplify business tax by performing real-time tax calculations and enabling automatic return filing. Learn more at Avalara.com.
You're listening to Marketplace Weekend. 4 weeks. That's how long Iran's presidential election campaign lasts. I mean, compare that to the, frankly, years-long race for the White House here in the U.S. Iranians go to the polls on May 19th to choose between the incumbent Hassan Rouhani, who brokered the nuclear deal with the Obama administration, and his main opponent, Ibrahim Raisi. The result will impact Iranians both in and outside the country. What could it mean for people trying to do business there? Hi.
Hi. I'm Mehdi.
Nice to meet you. How are you? Southern California is home to the largest Persian community outside Iran. So this week in Los Angeles, I stopped by the Atari sandwich shop in LA's Westwood neighborhood to chat with one Iranian-American businessman about the election. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
I'm Mehdi Ayanejad. I'm an entrepreneur living in Los Angeles.
Ayanejad moved to the U.S. about 18 years ago to go to grad school and now runs one of the most important Persian websites in the U.S.
I built the website Bala Train 11 years ago. It's a news aggregator in Persian. It's one of the most popular news destinations outside Iran. It works similar to Reddit or Dig. People post news and vote things ups and down, and it's a community.
How's business?
So we have had ups and downs like any other media website. Of course, we feel the pressure from Facebook, and we are trying to get our audience engaged and not to lose them to Facebook.
Have you seen, in a moment like this, in the run-up to the elections, has your traffic changed?
Yes, actually our traffic has increased within the past few weeks. In Iran, candidates are not allowed to have a campaign more than months before the election. Everything picks up right before the election.
Well, what does that mean for you right now? You know, if I were to go on your site and look at what people are...
Net neutrality is the fairness doctrine. Will target conservative media.
But that's the exact opposite of what it did. Trump could not have been more off base if he tweeted, net neutrality is the Monroe Doctrine, will target the Wu-Tang Clan.
Is right around the corner.
So sadly, it seems once more, we the people must take this matter into our own hands. Because the FCC are again going to invite public comment on their website. And conventionally for them, the process is actually a lot more complicated this time than it was 3 years ago. You have to go to fcc.gov/lowercase-ecfs/search-proceedings. Then, when you get to this page, put in the proceeding number, which is 17-108, then hit...
It should get up to 68. You're listening to KQED-FM San Francisco and to KQEI-FM North Highlands, Sacramento. The time now,
search, and on the next...
This is the TED Radio Hour. Each week, groundbreaking TED Talks.
TED. Technology.
Entertainment.
Design. Is that really what it stands for? I've never known that.
Delivered at TED conferences around the world.
The gift of the human imagination.
We've had to believe in impossible things.
The true nature of reality beckons from just beyond.
Those talks, those ideas, adapted for radio. From NPR. I'm Guy Raz. Coming up...
So different things spread in different ways. About 70,000 years ago, Homo sapiens spread out of East Africa.
Networks are required for the spread of good and valuable things.
Germs spread.
Page, restoring internet freedom should be the only result you see.
Across different cultures.
It's about can you get your idea to spread.
This episode, how things spread. First, the news.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Nora Rahm. In a race closely watched by the world, political newcomer Emmanuel Macron, a centrist, has been elected president of France over far-right candidate Marine Le Pen. Jake Saganaro reports Macron marks a new era for the country.
Mes chers concitoyens, une nouvelle page de notre longue histoire s'ouvre ce soir.
Following his victory, Macron said, "A new page of our long history opens this evening. I want it to be one of hope and recovered confidence." At 39 years old, Macron is France's youngest head of state since Napoleon. He campaigned on a message of optimism and renewal to defeat Le Pen, who wanted to take France out of the EU. He may have won the presidency, but his party, just a year old, doesn't hold a single seat in parliament. Macron will have to make good on his promise to unite the left and the right and shepherd new voices into France's political class. Speaking after her defeat, Le Pen vowed to transform the National Front into a new political opposition. For NPR News, I'm Jake Saganaro in Lille, France.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed the nation's toughest anti-sanctuary cities legislation into law Sunday. Texas Public Radio's Ryan Poppy reports the bill signing was done live on Facebook.
The governor's office alerted media Sunday afternoon to watch the governor's Facebook page for a big announcement. Then around 6:30 that evening, he signed the state sanctuary cities bill into law. Abbott says the law is needed to force local police chiefs and sheriffs to comply with federal immigration detainer requests.
Texans expect us to keep them safe, and that is exactly what we are going to do by me signing this law.
Opponents of the bill say the law will make Texans less safe because it will lead to immigrants refusing to pass on information about crimes for fear of deportation. The Mexican-American Legal Defense and Education Fund is among groups planning to challenge it in court. For NPR News, I'm Ryan Poppy in Austin.
House Speaker Paul Ryan is defending the House-passed health care bill to replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, insisting it includes protections for people with pre-existing medical conditions.
We have all these multiple layers of protection to make sure that these families, that these people, look, these are our friends and our constituents. We want to make sure that people who have bad health care status, who have a pre-existing condition, get affordable coverage.
But Republican Senator Susan Collins of Maine says the plan has gaps.
It's true that under the House bill that a state that gets a waiver would still have to provide coverage to people with pre-existing conditions, but that's... This
week. This is NPR News from Washington. A Senate subcommittee holds a hearing Monday on allegations that Russia meddled in the 2016 presidential election. The panel will hear from two Obama administration officials, James Clapper, who was Director of National Intelligence, and Sally Yates, Deputy Attorney General, until she was fired by President Trump in January. The subcommittee is one of three congressional panels looking into whether Moscow ordered the hacking of Democratic political groups to tilt the election toward the Republican candidate. Parts of eastern Canada are being inundated by widespread flooding after nearly a week of rain. Dan Karpenchuk reports in the province of Quebec, crews are deployed in more than 130 flooded communities.
More than 400 soldiers are now involved in relief efforts in Quebec, where heavy flooding has affected 1,500 homes. The soldiers have been deployed to western and central Quebec and around Montreal, where rising water levels threaten hundreds more residents. The Premier of Quebec, Philippe Couillard, visited the community of Rigaud near Montreal and urged people to leave if asked by authorities. Dozens of buildings have also been flooded in eastern Ontario, and the East Coast is getting drenched, with New Brunswick expected to bear the brunt. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has promised federal help for people affected by the flooding. For NPR News, I'm Dan Karpenchuk in Toronto.
82 Nigerian schoolgirls who had been kidnapped by Islamist militants met with the Nigerian president Sunday. They'd been released Saturday after being held for 3 years by Boko Haram. An official said 5 Boko Haram commanders were released in exchange. I'm Nora Rahm, NPR News in Washington.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include the National Endowment for the Arts, the federal agency that supports the arts and creativity in communities across the nation. More information is available at arts.gov, and the listeners who support this NPR station.
Excellent. Not. Surprise. But sex.
With a research scientist.
What did they expect? This.
What happens to your brain when you hear that is exactly what Sophie thinks.
We are having, perfectly fluent conversation.
Yeah, right.
And I'm interested in how that goes.
You people amaze me. You really amaze me. Your quality control people, they just have bats in the belfry. Bought this Game Boy yesterday, took it home, nothing.
Focuses on is laughter. And why? Like a cold or even a yawn. There's something contagious about it.
So yawning is very like laughter in this respect. You can catch it from somebody, and you are much more likely to catch it from somebody you know than someone you don't know.
Okay, so to set this up a little bit more, you might remember this viral video that went around a couple years back.
Is this where somebody starts to laugh? A woman's reading something on her phone?
Right. Basically, this was an improv group in Berlin, and they filmed a stunt on the metro train there. One lady is looking at her phone, and she sees something funny, so she shows it to a friend, and they start laughing. Then somebody else around her starts laughing.
You get them laughing and then you keep them going.
In this part, cognitive neuroscientists like Sophie Scott, they understand it pretty well. Laughter, it spreads. But what we understand less is why. Here's Sophie on the TED stage.
I'm going to talk to you today about laughter. And in terms of the science of laughter, there isn't very much, but it does turn out that pretty much everything we think we know about laughter is wrong. So it's not at all unusual, for example, to hear people say humans are the only animals that laugh. Nietzsche thought, oh, humans are the only animals that laugh. In fact, you find laughter throughout the mammals. It's been well described and well observed in primates, but you also see it in rats. And wherever you find it, humans, primates, rats, you find it associated with things like tickling. And that's the same for humans. You find it associated with play, and all mammals play. And wherever you find it, it's associated with interactions. So Robert Provine, who's done a lot of work on this, has pointed out that you are 30 times more likely to laugh if you are with somebody else than if you're on your own. And where you find most laughter is in social interactions like conversation. So if you ask human beings, when do you laugh, they'll talk about comedy and they'll talk about humour and they'll talk about jokes. If you look at when they laugh, they're laughing with their friends. And when we laugh with people, we're hardly ever actually laughing at jokes. You are laughing to show people that you understand them, that you agree with them, that you're part of the same group as them. You're laughing to show that you like them. You might even love them. You're doing all that at the same time as talking to them. And in fact, the laughter is doing a lot of that emotional work for you.
It's the kind of laughter you experience maybe late at night when you're a little slap-happy with your friends. Because that kind of laughter, the kind of laughter we heard on the train over then, it's just another way we have of saying